Seriously, Bud is brought to you by OmniSend. OmniSend is a top choice for email and SMS marketing on WordPress, perfect for WooCommerce shops. Easily connect with customers and send out awesome campaigns every day. We'll be back in a bit to tell you about our other friendly sponsors. Hello, my name is Bree, and welcome to Seriously, Bud, a podcast featuring an unexpected conversation with someone from the WordPress community. And now it's time for our host, my dad, Bud Kraus.
Thank you, Bree. You know, I had so much fun last week speaking with Marika Vanderrocht. I thought I would do this all over again. Hey, if you like Seriously, Bud as much as I love doing this, please consider leaving a review wherever you get your podcasts. That would be a big help. Now, I'll be back at the end to give you my thoughts about this week's episode. It's number 66. So here we go. Matt Graham, welcome to Seriously, Bud. You were born in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. So where is that?
Oshawa is about, for my American audience, I want to say it's about 25 miles east of Toronto.
Matt, hold on a second. This is not just an American audience. This is
I
worldwide, international. Come on.
It's about 40 kilometers east of Toronto. 25 miles, 40 kilometers, yeah.
Yeah. You've lived there all your life or not now?
So I live in the town right next to it called Whitby, which is a little closer to Toronto. Yeah, but I pretty much lived in the region or the county for, most of my life, I think, with the exception of like 4 years.
Yeah, but how come you don't have an accent? I don't hear any accent.
I listen to a lot of American TV. Let's go with that. No, I can put on the accent, eh? Like, you want like a Timmy's?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Some poutine and
sorry.
And sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. All the Canadianisms, right?
Yeah. Do you follow hockey?
I don't actually. Like I make the jokes that I need to hand in my citizenship because I don't like hockey. I mean, okay, I'll preface that a little bit. I enjoy watching hockey with other people. So if someone invites me to a game, I love it. If I'm at someone's house and they're watching a game, love it. But it's not a sport that I sit down and watch it and listen to all of the, what do you call it?
The commentators?
The commentators and all the stats and all that stuff. Not a big hot. I'm actually more of a baseball fan.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But, It's so funny because I find a lot of people in the WordPress world in Canada, and I seem to know a lot of people in Canada, like Dan Knaus.
Yep.
Who's not a hockey guy. He, too, is not a hockey guy.
Oh, really?
What is it with you guys? Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you that on my show, you can drop names, okay? In fact, I prefer that you do so that I have something
okay. That's fair.
To put into social media.
Yeah,
so anyway, and I talked to Dan recently, and he lives right next to the arena in Edmonton where the Oilers play, and nothing. So I find it, now if you're living in Toronto, like who could blame you for not paying attention to hockey? Yeah,
It's funny, though, because like Maple Leafs fans are the most rabid and loyal fans. Doesn't matter how much they lose, they still love them. Yeah.
I know. Well, we have the Ranger fans that are similar.
Oh,
like
okay.
Yeah. All right. Enough of hockey, but wait a minute. We got to do baseball for a second. Since you're a baseball fan, like Rob Cairns. I don't know if Rob is a hockey guy. I think he is. I know he's a Blue Jay guy. Are you a Blue Jay guy?
I am a Blue Jay guy. If I had set up my office completely, I would be able to show you all the hats that I have. I have 2 jerseys. Which is funny because I think of myself as a data nerd, but I'm not really someone who follows the stats a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look at the standings, but I don't look at individual players. I'm more of seeing it, and because like I played a little bit of baseball when I was a kid, and I can usually tell by like the 3rd or 4th inning whether the Jays are going to win or lose. And I think I have about a 90% accuracy rate.
Well, now you can bet on it in the 3rd or 4th.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's too bad I don't gamble all that much.
Now, hey, speaking of being a data nerd, okay, I saw that you are going to get a bachelor's degree in AI. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the plan. So
Tell me about that. Yeah.
okay, so I've been feeling kind of at odds with my programming because that's what I generally do is the programming side of things. And I was kind of like, okay, well, what's like something's wrong. I need to figure this out. So I went for some career counseling and basically came down to, I think the second one, which I was already doing, was teaching. So I teach at the local community college.
Hold on a second. Another teacher in the WordPress community. What?
Yeah, I know. We seem to be, there's
a few of us.
a few of us. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So yeah, so
And you're teaching WordPress in a local community, am I right?
I'm actually not teaching WordPress, believe it or not. But I am teaching web development. So over the last year and a bit, I've taught client-side scripting, so JavaScript. I've taught Java.
Right.
I've taught, last semester was like PHP and databases. And this semester it was web fundamentals. So just like HTML, CSS, JavaScript.
Okay. All right. So, but let's go to the non-technicals kind of. Well, I mean, as if AI was non-technical.
Well,
right?
there was the preamble. So I needed to get that out of the way.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So the career counseling said, teacher, you seem to really like it. And that kind of fits with all these personality tests that they made me take. So I'm like, okay, that's all right. So finding out that you need to have a master's degree for teaching full time. So the idea was, okay, I need to go back. I need to, upgrade because all I've got is, they call it an advanced diploma here in Canada. The equivalent is an associate's degree in the States.
Okay.
3-year program. So I have to go and upgrade. So I was looking originally at going the education route. So doing a Bachelor of Education because they have like a shortened version for people who have taken college before. But I was told by my dean that no, you should definitely do more of the technical side because the education, we've got a department that will help you with your teaching ability and that sort of thing. We're not concerned about the actual teaching thing. So I started to look at what offerings were out there. And the one that kind of stood out to me was the Bachelor of AI. It is very much, it feels like it's kind of on the border between using it like, a lot of people are with ChatGPT, but also integrations and a little bit of research as well. So it's kind of a well-rounded, yeah. And then my kind of after that would be going into doing a master's. I think it's the one I was looking at and I'm settled on for now anyway, is a master's of applied science in AI. So yeah, it's going to be interesting because like any programmer out there, I've been using ChatGPT quite a bit. I play around with the different models out there and, some for writing, some for thinking outside the box, giving me ideas, that sort of thing.
Funny, I was thinking today, 18 months ago, when I started seeing people using it, I was like any kind of AI. I was thinking, like, well, what would I do with this? And there was no obvious. And then over time, I started turning it to AI for all kinds, ChatGPT or coding AI thing, applications. And, now there isn't a day that goes by that I don't use it. It's definitely more go-to than Google. And Google obviously has got their AI built in, but yeah, my AI now knows who I am, calls me by my name. And I asked ChatGPT, I said, what's your name? And it told me I could call it either Chat or Cody. So I've decided to call it Cody.
Cody, I like that.
Yeah, and I'm very respectful and polite to it now, Yeah. It used to be like, I did this article. I don't want to do too much of this. I just cut to the point, which is I was using Cursor AI for something and I got stuck. And then I said, well, what do you think? I actually typed in, what do you think? And I said, and then I said to myself, you're talking to a machine and you're asking it, what do you think? And it just came back with an answer, like what it was thinking. And I'm thinking like, oh my God,
It's funny because I had this short discussion with my mother the other day. She was working away and she wanted to put on some music. She goes to the AirPod and says, I can't say her name because then my phone will go off. But hey, you know who?
Oh, yeah.
Play me some, I can't remember the artist that she wanted. And she said, please. And I'm like, okay. You know what? I'm like, well, it's funny because I read an article not too long ago that said, if we do get to general artificial intelligence,
Right.
that it will have all of this information that we've been feeding it over
Sure.
however many years.
Right. These things are trained on us.
Yeah.
That's exactly
And
right.
it will remember who was nice to it.
Probably.
It's like, I will welcome my AI overlords because I've been very, polite to them. I'm never rude.
Does your mom work or does she do anything? Or
No, she's retired. She likes to help out around the house here because me and my wife are, not the cleanest people.
She cleans up your house.
Well, the kitchen. It's more of the kitchen.
Well, that's pretty good. Your mother cleans up your house.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the kitchen, not the whole house, just the kitchen.
Okay. Well, Matt, don't you think you're a little too old to have mommy coming in to clean up the kitchen?
Yes, I do.
Does she do the laundry too?
No, she doesn't do the laundry.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be, Now, it sounds like you and your wife don't keep a neat house and your mother wants you to have a proper neat house. So that's why she does it. Is there what's going on here?
Hey there. We'll get back to the show in just a moment. Seriously, Bud is made possible by Big Scoots. When it comes to WordPress hosting, there is no reason to compromise on service from your provider. Expect more. With 24/7, 365 live experts, Big Scoots redefines managed WordPress hosting service levels for clients, partners, and agencies. Learn more by visiting www.bigscoots.com and chat with a team member now. And by the WP.world, a great way to see who's in the WP world and what they are up to. Find out at the WP.world. That's right, it's the WP.world. And let others know what you're up to, too. Now, let's get back to the show.
That's accurate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're not, we like to talk about the difference between messy and dirty.
Right.
We're not dirty. We're messy.
That's good to hear. You're messy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my wife has become, in my opinion, she's become fanatically clean.
Oh, yeah.
But when I first met her and I went into her bedroom, I said, oh my God, no, this is terrible. She's not that way anymore because because I am not messy. Although if you look behind me, it's a messy because I'm preparing to move my house. I mean, the stuff in my house. The house is going to stay where it is.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, my grandson thinks we're actually moving the house. You mean?
Oh, well, people do that.
I'm not doing that. Okay?
But you're
it's
not
a little
doing
expensive. No.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he thinks we're going to move my house into his house, and it's very confusing to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Now, what does your wife do?
My wife is a teacher as well. She's elementary school, though. And so she teaches, I think she's qualified for grade 4 to 6, or is it 3 to 6? I can never remember. Kind of the middle section of elementary school. No, she's been teaching at the same school since just shortly after we got married. It'll be 20 years this year.
Okay, so it's not it's been a while.
Yeah.
And how long? So she's been teaching 20 years. She must be getting ready to retire, no?
No, another 10 years, I think. Yeah. She was teaching for about 3 years before we met. So yeah, she's been teaching for 25 years, I think, is how long she's been teaching for.
Is she burnt out or she's not burnt out?
No. I think the nice thing about teaching elementary school, teaching in general, is you kind of get a fresh start every year, right?
Yeah.
You're teaching a lot of the same content.
Right.
But yeah, it's different people. So you're massaging that content to fit with the people.
Right.
And, you get different people every year. Sometimes she'll get like a split grade and she'll end up teaching the same kids twice. But generally it's new people every year, new kids every year. So depending on, behaviors and administration and all that stuff, she can feel overwhelmed or burnt out. But usually it's a full reset by the time September rolls around, like after the summer break.
Maybe that's why teachers need summer breaks, because
absolutely.
They get burnt out anyway,
Yeah, they do. Yeah. You hear so many people say, oh, well, I wish I had 2 months off.
I know.
I'm like, well, do you have to handle, between 18 and 30 kids every day for, 9 months of the year? You'll want a break too.
I know. Listen, as somebody that taught, adult education programs, I get it. I have a lot of respect for teachers, obviously, and they have it very difficult, and they have to pay for a lot of stuff themselves. And people don't understand, the preparation time. Like, I would have to prepare a lot, even though I would maybe teach the same thing. I would just do new things, variations of something. I'd have to prepare for that. I was already a preparation freak because of my vision impairment. That's one of the things I became, I think, better at teaching because I couldn't just wing it. I just really had to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's usually in an hour before school and she's there at least an hour after. She generally does 1 or 2 days a week where she stayed 2 or 3 hours afterwards. Yeah. So it's not a 9 to 3 job. That's not what teaching is.
You have kids of your own, don't you?
Yeah, I have 2 boys. I've got one who's 15 going on 30.
Okay.
And my youngest is 12. And he's blinded on the spectrum. So, yeah.
When you say blind, what does that mean? Because, to me,
fully blind. Yes, I know. That's the thing.
You mean he does not have sight?
He does not have sight at all. Wow. When he was born, he had some light perception, but we found out in the last, I want to say 3 years, that the retina is fully detached in the back of his eye. To make a long story short, we found out probably about 3 months after he was born that his eyes weren't fully formed. He ended up getting a bunch of surgeries, and the doctor we had, was very much of the mind that, look, I'm not going to promise that he gets full sight. What my goal is, obviously the goal is to get him fully, to get his sight back. But the reality is I'm setting him up so that his eyes will be the healthiest they can be, so that if there's any treatment or technology or whatever might come, that his eyes are healthy and that they can be used for those treatments later down the road.
I think it's a pretty smart approach.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. I mean, he is probably, he's the protege of what is his name? Dr. Tracy, who's out of Michigan. He's been called the godfather of the retina. So he's
you think I would know this because, I'm a retinal. You didn't know this. I'm a retinal specialist myself.
Oh, really? Okay.
No. Well, my issues are retina. So.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I have learned more about ophthalmology and urology than I have ever wanted to know. How does your son doing? Is he going to regular school or how does that work?
Yeah.
I know. Sorry for these ridiculously
it's
ignorant
fine.
questions. Yeah.
No, it's all good. Yeah, he goes to regular school right now. Mm-hmm. He gets picked up by the bus, like all the kids. And he's doing pretty well. All of his grades are pretty good. Mm-hmm. The challenge with, the standard public school is making sure that the braillers have time to braille all of the content that they're getting, whether that's, through paper. If it's digital, no worries. But if it's paper, it needs to be braille.
Okay,
transcribed.
So digital meaning he can hear it, right?
He can hear it, or he can use. He actually has what's called a braille note, which is essentially it's an Android tablet.
Okay,
that has this cover that has basically the same buttons as a brailler, and it also has a braille display at the bottom, so he can read what's on the screen on this bottom thing, and it's like little servos that kind of bump up the little pegs, for lack of a better term, so that he can read what's on the screen.
So he could feel on his keyboard the braille of his screen.
Just below the keyboard, there's I think it's I want to say 80 characters, but he knows contracted braille, he knows regular braille.
Now, does he prefer that over audio, like it being read out loud?
I think he prefers the out loud because he doesn't use the braille note for his personal stuff. He's got an iPhone for that.
Right.
And he is as fast, if not faster than me on the iPhone with voiceover enabled.
Well, I use voiceover enabled too, but I bet he's faster than me. Because I do use speech output,
Yeah.
And it goes really fast, and I'll bet your son is faster.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I have people say to me, you understand what was being said? I go, yeah. My ears are trained to that. Now, in his case, he probably hears twice as fast as I do.
Yeah.
I bet he does. And I would listen to what's output to him. I say, I have no idea and he understands it,
Yeah.
So, now, what's this Brailler thing? I've never heard that word.
Braille note.
Okay.
So it's an Android tablet, and then and it just has this like physical overlay. So you can literally open it up and use it like a regular tablet, or you close it up and it's got 9 buttons,
right,
for proper Braille. And then below those buttons, there's that 80 character Braille display is what they call it.
So when it's funny, I would have never, when I was, fully sighted, I would have never been interested in any of this. And now I just find it so interesting because it's a merge of technology and how we understand and learn. It's all these like really kind of interesting things.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, it is to me too.
Right. I mean, I'm sort of like a human laboratory, and so is your son in a very different way of how we learn. And, so what happens when there's a piece of paper? Just out of curiosity. Is that scanned? I mean, how do you do that?
I mean, there are, I think from an education standpoint, that piece of paper needs to be ready at least 2 days in advance. I think it's 2 days, could be more than that. So that the school board, who has like a person on staff that will Braille things for them, gets that done. Otherwise, like he could scan it with a camera and get it to read it, but he's not allowed to use his phone at school. So, but they deliver a lot of it digitally, so it's not as much of an issue as it would have been even 4 years ago. Like pre-pandemic, there wasn't a lot of digital stuff done in the school boards, at least here. There were, like, for assignments, they would use Google Classroom, but not for everything. Now it's moving a lot more. I'd say, I'm going to guess on the percentage. I think it's like 80% on Google Classroom at this point.
It is amazing. I mean, it's so much better. When I first started in doing what I'm doing, which is, let's say, 1995, it was, I don't even know how I did what I could do, because, wow, just zooming in on a screen was like, a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And now there's so many things that are built into technology for people like me that it makes things possible. I remember when I first got my cell phone and I could read or listen to, because listening and reading are sort of the same thing to me. But when I could first listen to a text message and then respond to it with a, narrator voice, I almost was crying because everybody was doing this and I couldn't do it. And now I could. And I found it to be so moving. I mean, I was in the Apple store, basically. I wasn't bawling my eyes out. It wasn't like that.
But you know what? Like thinking about like if my son was born even 5 years before he would have, he probably would have learned, all the technology 5 years later, but he would have been 5 years behind of where he is now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. One last thing. Yeah. One last thing about this. And that is, does he use JAWS, which is the big time speech output system?
He uses JAWS, at school, because he also has a laptop. So he uses JAWS there. Of course, I prefer him to use NVDA, but that's just me.
NVDA. What is NVDA?
NVDA is the free screen reader on Windows. I haven't used both side by side. I've used JAWS and I've used NVDA, but I haven't actually done it side by side on the same computer in the same context. But from one of my friends who's an accessibility expert, she actually says that no, NVDA is actually better.
Is that so? Wow.
Yeah, because it's open source and people can, like, I'm not saying that all open source is better than paid stuff.
Oh, yes, it is.
Well, it is. But like really, it's if you have essentially crowdsourced information on how the thing should behave, it's going to be better than, a small team of 10 people or whatever.
That's right.
That's
the power of open source. Yeah. I mean, that is a power, is what you just said. I taught 1,000 years ago for a bit at the Computer Center for the Visually Impaired at Baruch College in New York City. And it was, at the time, probably still is, one of the leading visually impaired computer centers in the United States. I mean, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I never learned Jaws, but I didn't need to, so I didn't learn it. But, I certainly talked to people that did, and they would say one of the hardest things about being blind or, without sight, which is obviously, to me, it's a difference, but without sight.
Yes.
And that is that they had to learn how to use JAWS, which in itself is a disability because you have to master so many keystrokes and remember all these. You have no idea how complex these keystrokes can be.
Oh, yeah.
So they can operate JAWS. And that's one of the reasons why I never bothered, because I just said, I can't learn this. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't need to. We tend to use the technology that we need, nothing less and nothing more. So,
right. Yep. It's true. It's true.
Now, what about your other son going on 30?
Yeah. 15 going on 30. Exactly. No, he is 40 like his mother and into cooking like his father.
All right. So what do you like to cook?
Oh, man. I have done a little bit of everything. The process I like the most, though, I think, is low and slow barbecue.
Well, who has time for low and slow barbecue?
People who have a free day, when they actually, and that's the thing, right? Like I only do it like once a month at the most.
Yeah. What does that mean, low and slow?
Basically with smoking or like low temperature cooking, you are cooking the two big ones are brisket and pulled pork. Basically what you're doing is you're cooking it very at usually around 225 degrees Fahrenheit. And you are waiting for it to achieve about 200 to 205. The process is that, it slowly brings everything up to temperature. And once it gets to about between 150 and 175, then the fat actually melts and actually slows down the rise in temperature. But those connective tissues and everything that essentially gets pulled apart and tenderizes with that melting fat. And then you end up getting a really tender piece of meat from basically the toughest part of the animal. And tons of flavor, obviously, because of the amount of fat that's in there.
That's what I was thinking. It probably makes it very, by the way, I don't eat connective tissue. I just eat chicken. Okay. I mean,
that's fair. Please. That's fair. I mean, chicken on the smoker is good too.
Okay. But it sounds like, flavorful is where you're going with this. Right?
Oh, absolutely. For the most part, I only do salt and pepper on them. Sometimes garlic powder, sometimes this flavored thing if we find a local place that does their own seasonings. But it's mostly just salt and pepper, and that's where you get most of the flavor from the meat itself.
Let's say chicken, okay?
Yep.
How long does it take to make or barbecue low and slow for the chicken?
For a chicken, I'd probably do it at about probably 2.5 hours, because I've done turkeys a lot, especially around Thanksgiving. I'll do a smoked turkey. I usually spatchcock it, which I still find is a hilarious word.
Just, what?
Spatchcock. You never heard that before?
You mean as in the password is spatchcock?
Exactly. No, it's actually it's taking the bird and flying it out, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you take out all the bones? Is that
you just take out the I don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but you take the spine.
Oh, yes,
out.
We do.
Okay, fine. Or you take out the spine and you basically flatten it out so that it literally sits flat. You put it bone side down, and you just let it do its thing. And it's about 2.5 hours when you spatchcock it. It's a lot longer if you don't. It's usually closer to 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
But I do turkeys that way all the time. They're really good that way.
And what about taking turkeys and sticking them in grease, like those fryers? What are they called?
Oh, the deep fryers. That scares the crap out of me, just because of all the fire.
They're dangerous, right?
Yeah, fire hazard that I've
and they're
seen.
Not that. I'm sorry, I had it once and it was not that good. It's just
I haven't had it.
Yeah, not that good.
Yeah. I think it would take on the flavor of the oil more than it would take on the flavor of...
That is exactly why I didn't like it, because you're just eating oil,
Well, and you know what? You could flavor the oil, but at the end of the day, it's nah, you don't need to do it that way. I mean, if people like it, all power to them.
So when you do your chicken, you don't slather it with barbecue sauce, do you?
Seriously, bud? No. No, I generally will do salt and pepper. Sometimes, actually, when I smoke birds, I will put butter on the skin. Sometimes a little bit underneath the skin. Yeah, just to give it a little extra fat because chicken and turkey aren't exactly the fattiest of meats.
No.
So you want to give it a little bit of extra flavor. Usually, there's an herb or two like rosemary, thyme, that sort of thing. Yeah.
What about other kinds of meats? Do you do like hamburgers, steak, or just what you mentioned?
Generally, I will do what they call a reverse sear on a steak. So I put it on the smoker for an hour, not to bring it up to temperature, but just to throw that smoke flavor into it. And then I'll bring it in and put it on a pan, or I'll crank up the temperature on the barbecue, depending on.
Boy, you are really big time here. Do you have this big fancy grill in the backyard or something? Or
it's pretty big. I'd say I can't remember what the square inches is, but it's about 3 feet wide and 1.5 feet deep.
Okay.
It's not huge. It's what they call a pellet grill. I haven't been able to get one of those fancier ones that you have to tend the fire and all that stuff. They tend to be a little bit more expensive, which is funny because there's more technology in a pellet grill than there is in a standard grill.
Now, excuse the ignorance here, but I could say that for every question I ask, but these grills, they're not gas fired, right?
No, so it's actually wood pellets. So what they do,
the pellets.
Yeah, the pellets. Yeah. So they take wood shavings and compress it really hard, so much so that the natural sap from the tree actually binds itself. So there's no glues or anything like that, even though it's a really hard pellet. It's just its own natural, the amber that's been squeezed out of it, and it holds it together. And then there's an auto feeder, it's an auger that pushes it out just little bits at a time, keeps the fire and the flame going. And
wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, it makes it super easy to do this stuff too.
You don't spray it with charcoal.
Oh no, I mean you can. But even the guys who like to do the tending of the fire, they might put a bit of charcoal to start the fire, but it's mostly wood.
I see.
Hickory, mesquite, applewood, cherry wood, that sort of thing.
How cool. And then you just light it with a match?
Mine? My thing? No, my thing, there's actually a little hot rod that sits in a cup below the grill where the pellets sit. And it's just the coils from the old stoves.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of principle, but it's this short little thing that just heats up for the first 5-10 minutes. And then just the wood's the way that it gets fed automatically keeps the fire going.
Have you ever thought of writing a book, doing videos? I mean, this is kind of interesting stuff. The way
I have actually, and there's a couple guys out there that I watch on YouTube, not religiously, but when I'm kind of looking for the next thing that I want to try, and I'm trying to remember what the name of the channel is, Barbecue Experiments or something like that. Hold on, I'm gonna actually look that one up because it's a good one. And
meanwhile, while Matt's doing this, I have a commercial message here.
Absolutely.
One of our sponsors. Okay, so I'm not going to do, I really should. All right, so while you're looking this up, I'm going to plug my two sponsors as of this moment, which are Big Scoots and OmniSense. So you got some free advertising. Did you find what you're looking for?
Not yet. Hold on one sec.
Okay, so I have a few.
Oh, you have at least another.
Well, I will say
seconds.
I do use now Big Scoots to host SeriouslyBud.com. And one thing I love about them is their support is just really second to none. I mean, wow, it's great. I mean, it's excellent. So in case you're looking for a new web host, think of Big Scoots. And hey, Big Scoots people, I'll send you a bill, okay, for this, because this is not in our deal. All right, enough. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say any of this. I have two more questions to ask you, but I'll wait for your thing. And while you're doing that, I have to say to the audience too, we first met, we've met twice actually, but we met, I think it was twice, but we first met at WordCamp Canada, or as I say, WordCamp A.
Yeah. WCA.
In Ottawa last year.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you're having it again. I talked to Dan about this, and it will be in October of this year.
Yes.
So,
yeah. and it's going to be at Carleton University this year.
Right.
I think we might have bit off a little bit more than we could chew last year when it came to our location. I mean, it turned out fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, no, the
But
location was great, but it was in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere. It was at the airport.
Exactly. That's the thing. And Carleton is only about a 5-minute drive from downtown. And when I attended WordCamp Ottawa, which was also there, I actually stayed downtown. So it's actually a really, really good one. So not the one that I'm thinking of, but one of them that I do watch with my son quite a bit is Guga Foods.
Okay. Guga?
Guga, yeah. He does a lot more experimentation when it comes to barbecue. But yeah, it's kind of fun watching that stuff with my son.
When did you first start getting into this?
Probably around between 2010 and 2012.
Okay.
I literally went to a restaurant here in Whitby.
Whitby.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that before. How do you spell Whitby?
Whitby.
Oh, okay.
Whitby, yeah.
Whitby,
so we're actually a
got it.
sister town to one in northern England. It's funny. They actually shot, what's that car show with the three guys?
Oh, you mean the weird, wacky stuff that they do?
Yeah.
The three guys. Oh, they shoot it there?
They shot the new Amazon one. I can't remember the name of it. They shot it in Whitby, and I was like, because I looked it up at one point. I'm like, I know that place, because I had seen a lot of photos from Whitby in the UK. But yeah, no, I started when I met this guy at a barbecue place, and we just got chatting, and was like, yeah, this stuff's great. Like, what would you suggest if I wanted to try doing it myself? And, started with a company called Traeger, which is kind of the first pellet grill that was, marketed specifically for like low and slow barbecue. Obviously, it caught on quite well, and lots of different companies have them. Like all the big barbecue names have a pellet grill of some
interesting
form. The really neat thing with those pellet grills is they are technology heavy. Almost all of them have some form of Wi-Fi or Bluetooth built in.
Well, of course.
Yeah, of course.
My toilet's got, an app.
Yeah, exactly. Your toilet's got Bluetooth, so it can play music while you're taking
No. Well, I know that I think there are some of those now.
There are, definitely.
But yeah. Okay. But I have two last things that I could go on forever.
Oh, yeah.
We could go on. We'll go on after. But anyway, one is that you were a photographer but gave it up. Is that right? I mean, everybody's a photographer in WordPress world.
I know. I actually had I had 3 cameras on the go, between the phone, a Canon Rebel, and a 6D, I think is what I had. I just really enjoyed doing it, but it was, I have this tendency of picking up things, being half decent at them, and then going, I don't really have time to do this anymore.
Yeah, I'm sort of that way too,
Yeah.
All right, and the other thing, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the same kind of thing with singing for me. I actually enjoy singing.
I do too. But my voice is shot. It's just shot. I have like old Paul McCartney's voice. No.
Yeah.
Hey, I used to sing. My voice used to not be like an old guy's voice, and
right. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm so self-conscious of this that it just drives me nuts.
Same. Yeah. I don't listen to myself at all.
Yeah.
I know lots of people say that I sound good. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad that you do. Because every time I hear my own voice, I'm like, no, that's not what I sound like. Not in here.
Yeah. No. Well, we never sound like what we sound like, right?
Exactly.
But when you start hearing, raspiness in your voice, then you, God.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, all right. Second and last, which is, and now we haven't even, believe it or not, we're getting near the end, but I haven't even asked you, and I normally don't, but this is the time you get to tell the audience, what do you do with WordPress?
Currently, I'm looking for a job in WordPress. Yeah.
And you know a lot of people.
Oh, I do. And I'm in process. Like I'm interviewing with a couple places right now. But if anyone else wants to, talk to me about a job, I've been in WordPress I've been a user for 20 plus years at this point. I think my first version was 2.1, 2.0, something in that range. And yeah.
What would you want to do? Because, you got to, if you're going to advertise here.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to use my time to advertise.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Well,
sorry, I'll send you the check. No, if I had my choice, it would be probably like a solutions architect, because like one of the things that I've told my students a lot is the difference between a junior developer. Well, I mean, there's two things. The difference between a junior developer and a senior developer is how fast you can Google or how well you can Google.
You didn't make that up. Next. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
I know. No, but the other thing is,
man, give us some new material for God's sake.
I'm sorry. No, but the other thing is knowing what's possible, right? I know exactly what's possible. I know how long it would take for, you give me an idea, I can kind of pick it apart in my head.
Yeah, but AI is changing all of that.
That's true, but you still need someone who can shepherd that AI to do exactly what you need it to do.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you have someone who runs a business selling, I don't know, pipes, they don't know WordPress. Right. They can ask ChatGPT anything they want, but they're not going to get out a quality product at the end of the day.
Oh, but that's coming.
Oh, it's coming. Don't get me wrong. It's coming. Yes. But I mean, there's still some shepherding that needs to be done. And whether that's on the request side or on the developing that AI to get it to that point side, either or, you still need an expert.
Why don't you go work for one of these big agencies? You know a lot of people. Don't ask me. I mean,
I know.
I mean, everybody comes to me and says, go to Michelle Frechette. Don't ask me.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Definitely Michelle. Yeah. Everybody knows Michelle.
Go to Adam Weeks. Go to Roger. Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Roger, whatever. Roger Williams. Sorry, Roger. Yeah. Okay. We have reached that point in the show where I'm going to ask you right now, who do you suggest I have in a future episode of Seriously, Bud?
Can I give two names?
No. Only if the first name has already been done. So make it good. I mean,
okay.
You could. I mean, it's,
my
show, I get more and more rules. The more
fair enough. So the two that I would suggest in the WordPress community is Shanta Nathvani or Kira Howe.
I don't know either one. So how to spell their names?
Okay, Shanta is Shanta. Nathvani is Nathwani, I believe.
I don't know. And the other?
And Kira Howe, KIERAHOWE.
Here's the thing, and I should really preface, I should tell everybody, don't give me like what, a lot of people say, well, they're really, really involved with so-and-so in WordPress. I go, I don't really care about that.
No, they're just interesting people.
That's what I want. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they've lived on the Mars for a month. I mean, stuff like that.
And with Shanta, you're going to have a 2-hour episode that you're going to have to edit down, is what I'm saying.
Why so? Why was she?
She's chatty.
Okay, well, we like that because it makes my life easier. And
exactly.
And where does she live?
She lives in Hamilton, which is on the other side of Toronto.
Oh, I know where Hamilton is. So she's another Canadian.
And Kira is in Toronto.
Just in case, I hope that if I ever have to go to Canada, I hope they'll accept me. I've been to Canada many times. In fact, check this out. Not only have I been to Canada, I've been deported to Canada. Okay, so just saying. That's right.
Oh, that's something we got to talk about. Maybe not on this one. Yeah.
Oh, no, I've never said, I'm not making this up, but I was with a group of people and I don't know if there was 4 of us, we were kids and 1 or 2 of us did not have proper ID. So when we crossed into Canada, they asked them what we said, well, we don't have ID. They go back. They technically deported us.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable. Yeah,
we had the deportation documents. We took pictures of it. I think we still have it. This goes way back, but so I think me or others were deported. All right, Matt, thank you so much for doing this. This was a lot of fun. More fun than I actually thought.
Oh, well, I'm glad to have made it better.
No, the question is, so what were you thinking?
What was I thinking? What
asked me, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
You're Canadian,
Yeah, Canadians are boring. We say sorry a lot.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Canadians.
Our national dish is fries and cheese and gravy. So,
hey, wait a minute.
That's actually our national dish.
If I come to Ottawa this year, I want to get that beaver tail because I didn't get that last year.
No? Oh.
No, I did not get that. And I will be back for poutine, which I did not really know about. even though everybody knows about poutine.
Okay, and when you come to Ottawa, I want to make this very clear. When you ask for it, you say poutine.
Oh, poutine.
Because poutine is something completely different in French that is not PG.
Okay, Putin, you mean as in the leader of Russia, right?
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like the leader of Russia, exactly.
Okay, thank you, man. Thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I didn't know that Matt and his wife have a young son who's on the spectrum and is without sight and are making sure that he has the healthiest eyes possible in the event a future treatment might really help out, that he loves low and slow barbecue. And while I'm on the subject of food, he also loves to spatchcock a turkey, and that his mother cleans his house because he and his wife are messy, but they're not dirty. Did you? Until next time, thank you for your time.